Welcome back to the channel, guys. Mr. H here for a return to this article, which I'd previously discussed in my video about Quentin Tarantino providing an update on the R-rated Star Trek. Now, this is all to do with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and there are some very key parts to this film which has caused controversy. But I wanted to just sit down and talk through the interview as to what Quentin Tarantino actually responded with, because there's a few things which happened here, right? The movie itself depicts Sharon Tate, Roman Polanski, tragedy, etc., etc. Now, that's played by Margot Robbie. Now, there was also some controversy caused around that because at a press conference, a journalist essentially implied that Quentin Tarantino belittled the character and almost dumbed down female characters for whatever reason. Basically stating that there was an agenda. And he did get... Well, he shut it down, actually very politely. He just said that he didn't, rejects the hypothesis and then moved on. Now, interesting to see that Deadline just went straight in there and talked to him about it, which is great because it really does show like how you approach Tarantino will absolutely garner you a different response. The journalist wasn't respectful with their question, and Deadline clearly is here. So we'll talk through it because I think it's interesting how Quentin Tarantino has handled Sharon Tate in this film, and just surrounded this whole controversy around it and his approach to the whole thing. I know this isn't going to be for everyone, but I found this to be particularly interesting, so I think some of you guys will too. So Deadline said, without giving much away, we learned that she died under suspicious experiences, or circumstances, I'd imagine, and while we see them on a boat in an argument, you never really quite tell us. Now, we know what happened. Was it an accident? Did he mean it? We don't know. The thing about it is, he knows he could be sitting in jail for the rest of his life for that. I forgot it. So anything that involves him not being in jail is like, I'm way good. The trailer, the dog, this is great. Now, in terms of, and then she says, then, Sharon Tate, you bristled at a canned press conference question about a minimum of lines for the character Margot Robbie plays. From here, it looked like she didn't really need much dialogue to make an indelibly angelic impression. In real life, that light was cruelly snuffed out, but in Robbie's performance, it burns brightly. She seemed to symbolise something about that period in Hollywood. What did she symbolise to you? What were you going for? Now again, great that they just approached it and then rounded out with a very fair and respectful question. And Tarantino, this is what I like about Tarantino. He really goes in there. So he says, I'm so moved by Sharon in the movie and at conjuring her up. I can't quite answer that question. And what I mean by that is, I could be grasping at metaphors, but I don't think I would even believe in the metaphors. It would just be trying to be smart. The thing about it is, unfortunately, she's a woman who has been defined by the tragedy of her death. While not making the Sharon Tate story, I wanted to explore who she was, the person. In doing research on her, she sounds almost too good to be true from everybody who knew her. She knew a lot of people, so there's a lot of verbal historical accounts of her. She just seemed to be one of those too sweet for this world kind of person. I got very infatuated with her, just the person she was, as I was learning about her, so I thought it would both be touching and pleasurable, and also sad and melancholy to just spend a little time with her, just existing. I didn't come up with a big story and have her work into the story, so now she has to talk to other characters and move a story along. It was just a day in the life. It's a day in the life of all three of them. That Saturday in February, a day in the life, driving around, running errands, doing this, doing that, and just being with her. I thought that could be special and meaningful. I wanted you to see Sharon a lot, see her living life, not following some story, just see her living, see her being. Incredibly respectful. I really like his comments here. Now he does also go on to say what Deadline asked right before that great promise and light was robbed from her. And Tarantino says, yeah. In my research, I found out that she had more promise than I even knew initially. He's incredibly respectful. Roman would have cast her as Rosemary in a heartbeat if the producers of Rosemary's Baby had brought it up. He thought it was unprofessional of him to bring it up, so he didn't. But if they had said, hey, what about Sharon? He would have said yes. Deadline says, do you think she could have done that? I think she would have been terrific. Mia Farrow is so iconic that it's hard to go back in time and not make the movie with her in it. Warren Beatty seriously considered Sharon seriously for Bonnie in Bonnie and Clyde. Now he does go on to... Deadline do ask him directly about Roman Polanski, because Roman Polanski and Tarantino are rumoured to be friends, or they are confirmed to be friends. They're not hugely public with it, I don't think. Yes and no. I mean, they are, but they don't just brand it around. Roman Polanski's famously, ran away from the United States because they got a warrant out for his arrest. Deadline, Roman Polanski is a peer, and you're treading on what, for him, has to be the most tragic terrain. I assume this is, did you talk to him? Do you interact with him? Do you give him an idea of what you're doing? What happened was, look, when it comes to Roman Polanski, we're talking about a tragedy that would be unfathomable for most human beings. I mean, there's Sharon. There's this unborn son that literally lived without ever being born. That's just a crazy sentence even to say. I felt that the story of her death and the Manson tragedy had moved it into legit history. So it actually is of historical importance beyond just his own personal tragedy. Very diplomatic way of approaching it, basically saying, yes, it's his tragedy, but it's also of historical importance. And I think it is. I would completely agree with that for sure. So I felt like I was on okay grounds there. I didn't want to call him and talk to him while I was writing it, because I'm not going to ask him permission. I'm going to do it, alright? I don't think he needed any anxiety, and I didn't need any anxiety as far as that was concerned. However, after it was finished, he got wind of it, and he reached out through a mutual friend. That friend called me and said, so what's up with this? He said that Roman wasn't mad, he didn't call up irate or anything, he was just curious, what is this? So what I did was, Roman's obviously stuck in Europe, so I had a friend come over and read the script. He came to my house, he read the script simply so he could call Roman up and tell him that the idea and what's in it. And basically, he didn't have anything to worry about. And he felt better, yeah. So look, it's interesting they say like, oh, so we add that mutual friend to Pitt and DiCaprio as the only ones who actually read the script. Yeah, blah blah blah. So there you go. I mean, this isn't going to be like an overly long-winded video or anything like that. I just thought that this was an interesting snippet through this very, very extensive article, and it really is. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the 9th film by Quentin Tarantino. He's set to make one more film left. I'm fairly certain it's the 9th film anyway. And I genuinely, having looked at this, because I was a little bit on the fence when I saw the trailer and things like that, and you see Sharon Tate and you know the history behind it, it is a little bit, is it tasteful enough? Is it not? And a lot of people, yeah, the comments at Cannes Film Festival was just nonsense by that journalist. So I think it's good that Deadline was so happy just to go there. They approached it very respectfully, and I think with Quentin Tarantino, if you approach him respectfully, you tend to get a respectful answer, not his "I reject your hypothesis" sort of attitude. So I honestly will be watching this the day it comes out. Hopefully, if I can, if I'm not working away or anything like that. And I think his comments here really do help solidify that he's approached this in a respectful manner. And also, all of the reviews indicate that as well. They really, really do. Like, it's amazing. They showed the film at Cannes, a film festival, and they had the press conference. People were still, despite the overwhelming positivity behind it, people still had the audacity to make some just baffling comments that Quentin Tarantino, essentially implying that he was a misogynist and he dumbs down female characters. A man who has put some of the most famous strong female characters into theatres for the last, 20, 30 years? Easily, in fact. It's just baffling to me. So this solidifies it to me. I think this is good. It doesn't sound like he's changed too much from the screening that was at Cannes Film Festival. So I wanted to bring you this news. What do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. Is this a film you're looking forward to? It sounds great to me. It's a love letter, according to him in this article anyway, this interview. It's a love letter to that period of time in Hollywood. And DiCaprio sounds incredible in this. The trailers really do get me buzzed. So anyway, love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down below. If you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe. You can stay up to date on the world of pop culture and movie news by hitting the bell notification icon. If you aren't being notified of my uploads, be sure to follow me over on Twitter, as I do share some of my content over there. That's just at Missed Age Reviews, all one word. And I also have an Instagram. There you go. If you like what I do, consider supporting on the Amazon affiliate link, Patreon, and also merch, which is through the Teespring link underneath my video. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I've Missed Age. Take care.